You're watching The Tom Renz Show with your host, Tom Renz.
And welcome to the show. How are we doing today? I hope you guys are doing great. I got to tell you, I'm doing good today, feeling strong about a lot of things. I'm all wound up about a lot of stuff today. A lot of stuff. Listen, where did I start? I mean, today is wild. It's just wild. When you look at all the different things happening, it's kind of hard to even believe how many different, I mean, it's everywhere. Just insanity. Rumors of Susie Wiles getting potentially resigning after the midterms. Rumors of just all sorts of nonsense. And then there's this one. Let me show you this. This was shared by MTG. And I don't really care how you feel about MTG. She shared Trump's tweet, right? Or his True Social post. Let me show you what this says. This is Donald Trump's, I don't know if it's his priority list or whatever it says. The Save America Act. All voters must show voter ID. All right, I'm with you, Mr. President. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. Absolutely, 100%. We want to make sure only American citizens vote. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military travel. I'm 100%. We've got to protect our military. They got to vote, but we don't need anybody else if you don't have a good reason. No men and women's sports. Damn right. Yeah, let's go, Mr. President. Very excited. No transgender mutilation surgery for children without the express written approval of their parents. What? What? WTF? What? No transgender mutilation surgery for children without the express written approval of their parents? What? You just said, what in God's name, what world am I living in? What the hell is this? No, how about no transgender mutilation surgery for children, period, ever, under any circumstances? What do you mean without express written approval of their, that's child abuse. This isn't even debatable. This is insane. Who kidnapped Trump and who the hell is this? Are you kidding me? Express written approval of their parents? Folks, let me just stop and point out the absurdity of what the president just said. No transgender mutilation surgery for children, mutilation surgery, right? We're acknowledging that this surgery is genital mutilation. We're acknowledging that this is horrible. We're acknowledging this is unacceptable. And then we're saying without express written approval of our parents. Yeah. Well, I mean, is this a joke? So, I mean, should we now allow parents to beat their children with baseball bats? I mean, if there's express written approval, then by all means, just let them beat them with baseball bats. Let's go back to the pre-child endangerment laws days, right? Let's go back. I got an idea. Whatever the parents want to do, for the parents that want to sexually abuse their kids, that's fine. You're not going to screw a kid up anymore with transgender surgery than you are with anything else you do. Child abuse is child abuse, and transgender genital mutilation surgery is child abuse. What in the hell is the president thinking? Who the hell wrote this? Folks, this is literal insanity. I can't fathom this under any circumstance. Children are not a negotiating piece, but apparently they are if it includes the Epstein files or it includes getting, I don't know, the SAVE Act. Not for now. There's nothing in there. That's just not okay. I am not all right with this. I haven't had a chance to respond. I saw this while I was prepping for the show. And I don't know, folks. I mean, I'm going to respond everywhere on this because it's insane. It is literally insane on every level. We're going to, folks, Susie Wiles must have written this. I don't know. Someone must have written this. Someone who hates the president, hates MAGA, hates Ma, and wants to see the president fail. Anyways, it is what it is. But it's beyond me, to be real honest with you guys. This is absolutely beyond me. We got that going on. Congratulations to Pfizer Pam for successfully shutting down the AutoPen investigation. I mean, Pfizer Pam, between Pfizer Pam and sellout Susie, I don't know who's worse, but I mean, we do see Kristi Noem's getting fired. So I don't know. Maybe he's going to figure out how to fire people now. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we're going to start out the show. I want to talk about some Maha stuff. I want to start out with some health stuff. We'll get into the AutoPen. We're going to get into the House. I'm sorry, shutting down any sort of a vote on disclosing the fact that there's a bunch of perverts there that keep sexually abusing their staff to the point that they commit suicide. And, we don't want to disclose any of that. Everything about what's going on right now. By the way, AAA gas prices are up. President Trump came in, did a great job. We saw gas prices go down. A year ago, they were at $3.10. A month ago, the president had successfully gotten gas down to $2.89, which is it's 21 cents. That's solid, right? It's not perfect. We need to go a lot lower, but it's an improvement. But then we decided to start a war with Iran, and it's now back up to $3.25, which is higher than it was a year ago. Anyways, let's talk about some Maha. Let's talk about some Maha. Before we do, I need your support. I need your help. I need you to go to givesendgo.com/Renslaw, givesendgo.com/Renslaw. Please become a monthly donor, weekly donor, daily donor. I don't know, just donate your house, donate your car, whatever you can donate. Sell your car and donate. No, I'm joking, folks. We do need your support. We do. We really do need support. Shockingly, we don't get support from any big guys. We're not bought off. We stick to the truth, and that makes everybody mad. So givesendgo.com/Renslaw. Keep us going. Keep us telling the truth. Help us, support us. Dollars and cents makes difference. Well, I'd love to have 1 million people give $5. We'd rather have 1 million people give $5 than, one or two rich guys give a whole bunch, because then we're accountable to we the people and the truth. And that's what we want to be accountable to. Also today, make sure you're supporting our sponsors. Of course, don't forget, all right, here it is, men's hormone support. Balance your hormones naturally, globalhealing.com/Tom Renz. globalhealing.com/Tom Renz. You save some money if you go to globalhealing.com and you use the /Tom Renz. And their whole product line is amazing. Honestly, Global Healing is incredible. If you use our link, you get a pretty substantial discount. And actually, it's a very big discount with these guys. You also get a big boost on the men's hormone support as well. But globalhealing.com/Tom Renz. And today, want to focus. Listen, I want you guys to get to know Paleo Valley. Paleo Valley is a wonderful, wonderful company. They're not what I thought, right? When I first started looking at Paleo Valley, I figured they're just selling some meat and some stuff like that, right? But that's not what they are at all. They have a bunch of great supplements, bone broth proteins. They do have some meat. They have their beef sticks, their venison sticks, and stuff like that. They've got a bunch of great supplements, great things like that. Here's what their store looks like. If you go to paleovalley.com and you use our link, and you support us there, you see, first of all, you get a big discount for the whole store, and great products like their bone broth protein, superfood bars. I love their apple cider vinegar complex supplement. It's not just apple cider, bunch of good things there. I also love their Neuro Effect. Really, really, really useful, because if you're like me and you have to spend, 12, 14, 16 hours a day thinking about complicated things, doing law, doing whatever you're doing, it really helps you to focus. So it's a good thing. Don't forget their organic coffee. I like their coffee. So electrolytes, big in the gym, love that. But just get a subscription to these guys. By the way, good organic grass-fed beef tallow. Great for cooking. It's not a poisonous, awful seed oil. And a great thing, these guys, just everything you get from these guys is good stuff. Organic olive oil pressed, natural pressed, keeping everything good in there. Just wonderful products. Subscribe to Paleo Valley. Become a subscriber. Just keep their stuff in your house. It's healthy. It's good. It's wonderful stuff. All right. Without further ado, let me bring on my friend, Lance Shuttler. Lance joined us last week, or was it the week before? I don't know, recently. And he came in, and I was on an absolute tirade about this crooked-ass glyphosate order, where the president was extending effective immunity to glyphosate manufacturers because, Susie, Wiles, and Pam Bondi both worked for lobbyists that Bayer Pharmaceuticals has retained. So, as a gift to the special interests, we decided to put out an executive order protecting glyphosate forever instead of trying to transition off of it, which is an absolute appalling joke. Well, Lance joined us, and he talked about it so effectively and did such a great job. I wanted to have him back to kind of get into some of the other health-related issues that he's dealing with to try and help people stay healthy and be healthy. So without further ado, let's bring Lance on. Here we go. Lance, how you doing today?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing good. How about you?
I got to tell you, I was really impressed because, you didn't even have a heads up that we were going to go on a glyphosate tirade that day. You came on, and you've got so many different things that you're doing in the MAHA space. And I love your commitment to health and to wellness and to clean eating and those sorts of things, because at the end of the day, if we really want to be healthy, we got to take it into our own hands. The government's job is not to keep us healthy. They should be doing a better job of not allowing corruption, of violations of consumer protection laws, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately our own responsibility to stay healthy. So I appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Tom. And that was a fun, good conversation. We shouldn't even need to have that conversation. Glyphosate should have just been dealt with long ago, made illegal, and also made to be a I think, a threat against civilization. Of course, there's the rationale and the reasoning that they put out, which, okay, we can comprehend it. It doesn't mean it's correct or right of them needing to phase off of it, but giving those companies indefinite immunity, that's no good at all.
No.
This definitely has to come from we the people, and it's good because people like you, Tom, who a lot of people follow you, we all support what you're saying in this. It's insanity. There's no other way around to it. Again, we know that there's a phased operation with it, but it needs to go quicker, and people are getting hurt from this. A lot of people. What's going to happen in the next 7 years? Even if they would transition off of it, it's going to take years. A lot of people are going to still be affected by this and hurt from it. So it's good that we're at least talking about it and getting it out there. That's the first and foremost thing. Awareness is critical. Knowledge is power. And then doing what we can do to avoid it, bring these things up on a local level, state level, federal level, get the word out there, because there's still a lot of apathy within the farming community about glyphosate. This, for some of the people who have chosen not to wake up to what's going on, they just see this as another, yep, well, the government's been telling us the correct things the whole time. Glyphosate's fine, it's safe. If it was a real issue, they wouldn't do this. We know none of that's true. And so it's sort of like for the farmers who have become so dependent on it, it was almost kind of a win in their corner in a way that's not good for even them. Some of them know, of course, that it's toxic and it's not good, but this issue needs to continue to be forced to be brought into the light so that we can transform this immediately. I agree. It's taken too slow. You talked about Susie Wiles possibly stepping down after the midterms. That's cool and that's great, but I honestly don't care, Tom. I want to see things happen today. Yes. I don't care about what's going to happen in 8 months from now at all. I'm personally not even focused on the midterms in the immediate context. Yes, from a long-term angle for sure, but I don't care what's going to happen in 8 months. Let's do things right now today while we can. She should not be in that position anyway. She should be out. There's a lot of things. I don't want to make this about her. It's not worth the time. But you know what I'm saying with that. We need action immediately, not things months and years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I think that this was just a very, very wrong step in the wrong direction, if you will. We should have been trying to push farmers to transition off. This stuff poisons the soil for a very long time. Takes some time to regenerate that soil, to get it back going, and to move into regenerative farming. We need to support our local farmers and ranchers. We need to help them transition. My friends at the Beef Initiative have been doing some great work on that. They are not, by the way, a sponsor. They are just people who I like, and I love what they're doing. We've got to support local farmers and local ranchers. We've got to get these guys going. So anyways, now one of the things I wanted to do, Lance, is, last interview, you had mentioned some really interesting things. I wanted to get into kind of your greater work in the MAHA and the health and the eating healthy space, right? You had started last show. And I think you told me a story. You said you talked about that your dad had suffered at the hands of Big Pharma, and that he put on some meds that really negatively impacted him. And that resonated with me because I've told the story before. When I was a young man, they put me on Zoloft, and this is before I had a clue about anything going on. And I was on Zoloft for 20 plus years. It's very addictive. People don't realize that SSRIs are addictive. And it's interesting, in hindsight, now that I've been kind of red-pilled on this, I look back and it's like every SSRI commercial says, take this for your depression, but it may make you kill yourself. Well, I mean, that's kind of a good reason for me not to take it, especially if I am depressed, right? So I eventually broke that. I quit cold turkey, which you're not supposed to. You're supposed to wean off of it. I quit cold turkey. And I will tell you, and I want to encourage anybody on this stuff, find a way to get off of it. You don't have to quit cold turkey, but get off of it. Work with your doctor, but get off of these things and do not do SSRIs. They're very dangerous. They're very addictive. And the thing about it is the side effects that I had coming off of that. I've been off of them for several years now. I still have persistent side effects from the years and years and years I was on these things. These are poison. But I will tell you also that the difference between being on them and being off them is dramatic. I feel much better. I feel like a human again. I can actually feel emotions. I get fiery at times. I get happy. I get sad, just like a normal human should. I really, really can't say enough bad about these. And I wanted to touch on that and then kind of get into your greater work in the MAHA space. So if we start there, what you think about this?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened with my father. He ended up taking his life. Those drugs absolutely, completely messed up his mind. He wasn't, even when he went to his doctor not feeling well, he wasn't suicidal. And so what sort of insane system is perpetuated on the people and is forced on the airwaves through TV commercials nonstop, that is supposed to be medicine, but ends up being poison. And most of it, all the time, or most of the time, it ends up always being poison for people. Even if there's some slight benefits, short term, long term, it's poison for the body. It cannot recognize it in natural ways. And so it always will create side effects. So, that kind of led me into the space. And then, like I talked about last time too, I love showing this and just briefly going into it. Inventing the AIDS Virus. This is a book, and this was my red pill back in 2010 in a class. Just by chance, the professor was able to speak about it. And it really helped me to kind of learn how to ask tough questions and really learn the scientific method even more from an honest and integrous way, and not just, what the money is telling us, follow the science through money, all that crap. So I learned how to think and saw that, wow, we've got psychopaths who have been at the helm of not just the medical system, but the entire world. And this is pretty crazy. So I took it upon myself to learn as much as I could and continue to, and just try to offer solutions away from this whole New World Order, demonic, satanic system that's infiltrated every system on our planet, including healthcare, and just try to give people hope, realistic medicine options, and things that they can do to help themselves. And so I've been writing about this stuff. I've got a company now these days with that, and just trying to spread the word in any way that I can to help people. Because as we know, the stronger we are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the better that is for us, obviously, on an individual level, collectively, but even more so, we become very dangerous against this satanic system that we've been up against. So, of course, I want to maximize people's health, my health, and make us as strong as we can in every way to take on and take down this corrupt, evil system.
Well, I think that's very important, and I want to back up what you're saying here a little bit. So we have Inventing AIDS, which my friend Judy Mikovits has talked about extensively. That during her time at HHS, where she was a scientist working directly with crooked Anthony Fauci and everybody else, that they did create AIDS in a lab. Now that seems controversial. And I can't say we have definitive proof other than Judy's testimony and there's some other evidence out there, right? But the thing about it is we now know that COVID was created in a lab, the Wuhan laboratories. We know that. And we just saw, I believe yesterday, Robert Malone came out with a Substack and was talking extensively about the fact that Lyme disease is not only real, but it was also created in a lab and intentionally released, apparently. So we know that our government does create bioweapons and they do get out. So this is a real issue, but there's no transparency on this naturally because people would demand accountability. And so it's covered up and it's hidden. But I think it's a bit of a stretch to pretend that this isn't real. If it was real, then why wouldn't we be talking more about this? Why is there so much hidden? Why does it have to be so top secret? I mean, you don't hide it unless you got something to hide. So that was your awakening. Tell me a little bit about your company and what you're doing and where your focuses are on the overall push for health and wellness now.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So I studied health science in school, and this, after I graduated, learned about the inventing the AIDS virus stuff, went down the rabbit hole and all these different things that you talk about and that we've gotten into, and then started working for different supplement companies as a rep and doing demos and repping companies around health food stores. Was able to be a health coach at a certain time, and basically that allowed me to gather a lot of information in the space of nutraceuticals, health, wellness, food, all the different things and how it all connects. And so I could see a lot of companies were either cutting corners or just not doing things the best that could be done. There's, of course, a lot of fantastic companies, and Tom, Global Healing, you already said it. They are top notch. I've been using their products for like 8 years now. Dr. Group is an incredible man and doctor, as is his brother, Dr. Group. Products, but they've actually, and I truthfully say this not just because you brought it up, but it coincides. They and their company have been a great inspiration for me because I want to also put out super clean stuff. And so what we've done is our products are organic and wild harvested where applicable. So wild harvesting and kind of going back into the whole glyphosate stuff. We have a pine needle extract, and that's from the eastern white pines. Glyphosate targets the P53 gene, as we talked about last time, the guardian of the genome, and it shuts down the shikimic acid pathway. Well, eastern white pines, what you think of as pine needle tea, that's loaded in shikimic acid. And so it helps us to accumulate that and get it in the body. But more importantly, glyphosate is stopping that 7-step critical process of life itself and stops shikimic acid from being produced. So that's part of why people suggest pine needle tea from eastern white pines, because of the shikimic acid. On a physiological level, that is antithrombogenic, antiplatelet forming, and so it unsticks sticky blood. And this is part of why pine needle tea, pine needles were often talked about, especially in the past 4 or 5 years, relating to the jab, relating to the scamdemic, all of that stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know. Well, I do know that it was talked about quite a bit with the pandemic, with the COVID stuff. I didn't know. I've not spent a ton of time on it. I know a lot of people were recommending it, and also, post jab. And by the way, I want everybody to know, Lance is not a sponsor. He's not an affiliate. I liked what he had to say, and what we're talking about here. And the reason this is important is the same reason I talk about Global Healing. They are a sponsor, because we need people who understand the importance of natural, of wild harvest, of some of these things. Natural foods, listen, I'm a God guy, but our bodies evolve and adapt over time. So, just because I say we talk about evolution doesn't mean I believe that we were monkeys. It just means that our bodies do evolve and do adapt. There's no question about that. And our bodies have adapted over centuries, millennia, to work with the nature that we live in, with the world that we were created in. And there's natural solutions to almost everything that you run into. You just got to find them. But when people go ahead and dink with it and mess with nature, they throw off that balance. And that's part of the problem. Everything we eat is GMO or treated with chemicals or some sort of poison, and it creates these huge problems. So when I find a guy like Lance who understands this, I want to support and I want to get that out there. So tell me a little bit more. So across the board, Lance, you're seeing, and we're seeing this push, right? We talk about glyphosate, but it makes for a good topic of conversation because everybody knows about it. But we design plants, most of our agriculture, to be resistant to certain pesticides and pests. We're genetically modifying almost everything we eat, which kind of throws it out of balance with the natural world that we evolved to live in. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And that what they call the shikimate pathway or the shikimic acid pathway, it's glyphosate that stops. I believe it's the fourth step in the process, and this is a process vital for life. So it's in microorganisms, fungi, all sorts of different life forms. It's not naturally present in humans, but it is through microorganisms and beneficial bacteria. And so this is part of why, from stepping back, glyphosate we know impacts the gut, and it destroys the gut, destroys the brain, amongst many other things. That reason, or one of the biggest reasons, is because the glyphosate stops the shikimic acid pathway. And so then there's not these beneficial microbes that they would be present in our gut as we're consuming through food and so forth, to then make neurotransmitters necessary for brain function, for gut function, all the different things. And so that's like the big step back of how glyphosate destroys the gut, and it's part of this shikimic acid pathway. Dr. Stephanie Senoff, she does an awesome job, an amazing job speaking about that. Also, Dr. Judy Mikovits. Both of those two ladies are on a completely another level with this stuff, which is so cool. And I've learned a lot from them listening to them. And they tell us that, this is bioterrorism, and they're specifically targeting us and specifically targeting the P53 gene. So
when you talk about pathways, tell me quick, what, because I don't think a lot of people understand what that means, right? So tell me quick a little bit about pathways and the interruption of these pathways. What are you referencing there?
Yeah. Okay. So that, what this one is called specifically, the shikimic acid pathway, it's 7 steps to end up creating these compounds that are vital for life. And again, it's done through microorganisms, beneficial bacteria, fungus, plants. We humans don't naturally have it, but because we're consuming these things, it absolutely impacts us. And so it's really just a chain of events, you could think of it as, that our body or is either present in our body or present in other life forms that then will directly impact our physiology. And so because it stops at step 5, it doesn't finish that whole 7-step process that needs to happen in the soil for plants, for worms, fungus, all the things I've listed. And so when that stops, we don't get the full expression of what those genetics can be for, let's say, consuming the plants or consuming the different nutrients. We're getting broken, fragmented DNA, essentially, and the correct information does not translate and convert into our body. And so we get this disruption, we get DNA breakage, DNA mutation, all the so forth, the things that we've learned, and ultimately leads to cancer or can lead to cancer. So glyphosate, it is such a massive issue, and this is why it's critical that we have to keep talking about it and pressing and forcing the change, because we can't just wait for it to happen. They aren't going to do it, clearly.
Yeah. Well, obviously not. If they did, it would be very damaging to Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi's pocketbooks, since or their future earnings that they may make when they leave the administration and go back into their lobbying firms where they make obscene amounts of money selling out American people's health. So, and folks, what Lance is talking about here, and I am not an expert in this space. I am not a naturopath, but it's kind of, if I'm not mistaken, you can fix what I'm saying here if I'm expressing it incorrectly. But within naturopathy, one of the things that I think is that's studied is the kind of the balance between human life and the natural world around us, and these pathways that I think Lance is talking about here. They're pathways by which the world around us and the things around us translate into providing health or wellness or different mechanisms of health and wellness within our bodies. And when those pathways are interrupted, well, things go haywire. Is that a fair explanation of that?
Yes. Great, Tom.
Well, all right. So Lance, we're gonna have to wrap up because I got to get on to some other things here. But tell me a little bit about your company. Where can people follow you? How can they support you? And the guys, Lance isn't a sponsor. I don't get anything out of you supporting him. I just really liked what he had to say. I really like what he's doing. I appreciate guys who are doing this kind of work. And so, yeah. Maybe at some point we work together. I don't know, but that's not the point. The point is I got a lot of respect for someone who's willing to get out there, do this sort of work. So please consider supporting him. Tell us how.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, the company is Ascent Nutrition, and what I had said, organic and wild harvested. A pine pollen tincture is another one that we've got there. The website is goascentnutrition.com. And just trying to get products that are from the forest, wild harvested and organic. We've got mushrooms as well. And we're on X, we're on, Facebook, Instagram, but goascentnutrition.com is the website. And, we're happy to help answer any questions and really just trying to get out clean nutrients for people so that we can be our best selves.
All right. Lance, I appreciate you. Support Ascent. Wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful work. And I appreciate what you're doing. We'll get you back sometime soon because there's always something to talk about with this stuff. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your contribution. And we'll talk again very soon.
Thank you too, Tom. Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. I'm going to definitely tune in right after I pop off.
Well, hey, make sure you hit like, comment, and share because that actually makes a difference. 100%. The algorithm does not like me. Grok just admitted last night, I was arguing with Grok about some things, and it admitted that my X account is fairly suppressed because we have freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. And because I talk about issues like this and other such things, we're seeing quite a bit of suppression on it. So please make sure you like, comment, or share because that gets the word out a lot better. And don't forget to check us out on Rumble and everywhere else that we are, which is a lot of different places. And we're actually on Apple Podcasts and we're actually on Spotify and Locals and everywhere else. So a little self-plugging there. But thanks for joining us, Lance.
Thank you too, Tom. Definitely appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, let's move into some other stuff. I posted last night when I saw that Pam Bondi decided to scrap the AutoPen investigation. I posted this post, which we will get up in just 1 second here. I posted that the Pam shut this down, and the reason given was, according to CBS, was that prosecutors were unable to find a legal hook to prosecute or to do something about these absurd AutoPen actions that were taken all over the place. Now, this is interesting, right? I find it amazing that they couldn't find a legal hook. So I thought I would help them out a little bit. And I did about, 5 minutes of lawyer research because that's all it took. Now, I want to be clear about this. The case that these AutoPen actions were illegal is not an easy case. But when are we going to do anything? I mean, listen, holding bad guys accountable, especially at this level, is never going to be easy, but that's what we fought for Donald Trump to do. to drain the swamp and to hold bad guys accountable. We need a DOJ that's going to fight to do that. This is devastating to the midterms. And guys, I want to see a GOP majority. I want to see a MAGA win. I want to see all these things happen. It cannot happen if we won't do what we promised in the election, the campaign, right? We were the whole campaign, MAGA, accountability, drain the swamp, right? Over and over again. Stop election fraud. Get these guys who've been persecuting conservatives for years. They came after the J6ers. They censored everybody, myself included. I'm still censored. How about the moms and dads who were investigated as potential domestic terrorists because they spoke out at school board meetings? This was insanity. We fought for accountability. There isn't any. So we need to do something. Now, I made a short list in my tweet here of potential charges or things that they could go after. Now, not all, there's defenses for every one of these, and they're not easy cases. But imagine if there's plenty to put this before a grand jury. There's plenty to start digging into the evidence and seeing what's going on there. So Joe Biden was manifestly cognitively impaired, right? Everybody knows that Sleepy Joe, I mean, it looks like he is suffering from very severe dementia. There was actually a House Oversight Committee finding that said, we think the guy's cognitively impaired, right? So if he was cognitively impaired, this is me being a lawyer here, he may not have had the capacity to authorize these actions. If people from the White House were using the auto pen and they were using it without Joe Biden's proper authorization, which he cannot legally give if he's cognitively impaired on a certain level, then that constitutes, here's a few different things, forgery of public records or writings, forgery of contracts, deeds, powers of attorney, false official certificates of writing, false statements to the government, conspiracy to defraud the United States, mail fraud or wire fraud, impersonation of a federal officer. You can see the sites, right? 18 U.S.C. 494, 495, 1018, 1001, 371, 1341, or 1343, 912. There's plenty of things that we could do. They need a legal hook. There they are. Now, using an auto pen is okay. Just so that you know, there's been an appeals court ruling. SCOTUS has never decided this. So, realistically, we should have went. This is the kind of thing they should have went after, should have brought to SCOTUS. And I know that it makes some of you unhappy to hear me say that the auto pen's not illegal. It's not. But the auto pen has to be authorized by the president, and the president cannot legally provide authorization if he's cognitively impaired, right? So this is a very important thing to understand. Joe Biden was, based on a House Oversight Committee findings, cognitively impaired. If the DOJ actually cared about justice, they could have said, listen, House Oversight Committee says that Joe Biden was impaired. We don't think that these things were authorized. We think that the following crimes are possible. We're going to charge everybody involved, right? They could have done that. That would have led to them having to investigate Joe Biden's cognitive impairment, at what level that was on, all these different things. All the different elements of the crime they could have investigated, made public. They could have shared. They could have done whatever they needed to do. It could have been a very public investigation. There's limits. You can't make everything public, but you can make truthful findings public in certain circumstances. It depends on what it is, right? Could have been a huge deal to demonstrate and show the corruption that occurred under the Biden administration. There is very credible reason to look into this and to investigate this, and it could have had a very positive impact for the country. Think of what that would have did for MAGA. Think of what that would have did going into the midterms, headline after headline about the corruption we faced, reminding us why we can never let the Democrats come back into power. But instead, Pam Bondi does what? Absolutely nothing, because that's all she ever does. She is not here to defend MAGA. She's a former Democrat and, in my opinion, an absolute sellout. She's protecting these people. She didn't want to do it. Now, it's not that they couldn't. And I'm not going to tell you that they could win or get convictions because we don't know. We would have had to truly investigate. But here's the question. Was it credible? Is there enough evidence to present to a grand jury? Is there enough evidence to start asking real questions? And I would say there's more than enough to get some indictments, right? If Joe Biden was cognitively impaired, and we have to get it on specific instances, and it looks like that's the case. Now, they're going to argue he was lucid and made the decision at one point or another, and that's a tough thing to disprove. But I don't know. The idea that they couldn't argue or prove this in any of these instances, it just looks like they didn't want to, right? It looks like they didn't want to. Now, we've seen the DOJ file crap cases against all sorts of people. They file crap cases all the time. And should they? No, but they do. So why can't they do it for MAGA? That's what they do every other time. This is a political decision, right? This is a political decision because they didn't want to file a tough case. They didn't want to fight a tough case, and it's just another example of Pam Bondi not doing anything to go after the swamp. It's a very disappointing thing. I find the whole thing to be just sad and embarrassing, to be honest with you. It's something that should have been done and wasn't. So that's that. There's more on this, and we could go into it in great detail, but it's just another failure. Let's get into Susie Wiles, right? First, by the way, headline, House overwhelmingly shelves release of congressional sexual misconduct reports. This is getting all sorts of play today. It's a Twitter headline. 78 female Democrats, and a whole bunch of Republicans and Democrats beyond that voted to block the release of the sexual misconduct reports and instead said send it to committee where it will die. This is DOA. This is not going anywhere. And it was sent to committee intentionally because they knew they could shut it down there. They do not want this. Now, right now, the Congress, when they sexually harass somebody or abuse somebody or do something horrible, they've got a slush fund that they fund every year. And then they've passed legislation to keep their slush fund and what it's used for hidden. So every year they buy off however many staffers or people that they have to buy off to cover up that these guys are committing massive sexual misconduct, massive sexual harassment. We don't know how much, but it looks pretty bad. We just saw the report of the guy out of Texas who, was harassing the hell out of his staffer. His staffer quits and then kills herself by setting herself on fire. And guys, that one hit me. It hit me. I'm sorry. I was burnt. I was a burned guy. I was burnt. Big gas explosion. I had no skin from the waist up. Severe burns in the hospital for a long time. It took months to recover. There's nothing worse than a burn. I was also a fireman. Burns, no good. It's not a good way to die. You're going to light yourself on fire to die. That's something. That's extreme. It's a horrible way to go. And for someone to be taken to that point, I mean, this woman, man, she must have had some real demons going on. I don't know what was going on to get her to that point, but I pray for her and her family. But Congress, they don't want you to know about it, so they cover it up. This bill is dead. It's going to committee to die. Everybody knows that. That's what's going on. Susie Wiles. Okay. So Emerald Robinson, who I like, Emerald Robinson is a firecracker, and she's fun to interview with because she's very traditional in her journalistic approach, right? So you do an interview with Emerald, you're going to get a bunch of short form answers, 7 to 10 minutes. It typically depends on but it's all short form. It's very punchy. It's very much just to the point. So Emerald's a good journalist. She's been a good journalist for a long time, but Emerald is an actual journalist, and she just doesn't care. She doesn't, right, left, doesn't matter. She gets to the facts and sticks with it. I can respect that, right? So Emerald says that she's been told that Susie Wiles, here's the quote, rumor, Susie Wiles is telling White House staff she'll step down from her role as chief of staff after the midterms. Now, it's a rumor. Okay, so I'm not telling you that she quit, and I'm telling you she's going to quit for sure. I'm telling you that that's what Emerald reports as a rumor. This is an important thing, right? I've been talking about since early 2024, the fact that I investigated Susie Wiles. I dug into it, and I think she's a snake. I think she's a sellout. I think she's a Bush loyalist who is pushing the president. And everybody that knows anything about the White House, it's common knowledge. You can't get to the president without going through Susie Wiles. You can't get him information. You can't get him data. You can't get him anything without going through Susie Wiles. She is the chief of staff. She's the controller. She's the gatekeeper. She makes sure he hears what she wants him to hear. Now, at the end of the day, the president's the boss. So the president's got to make his own decisions. But Susie Wiles, 100%, controls the president's schedule, controls access, controls all these things. Susie Wiles, when I did my investigation, here's an oldie but a goodie. You can see this on my X page. This is from April 21st, 2024. You can see here's the tweet, and I talk about Wiles and her ties to the World Economic Forum and globalist companies, right? And in this one, I'm talking about Trump supporting Mike Johnson and all these other things. It makes no sense to me, but I pull out a few different things that I think are important, right? So you've got here's Susie Wiles. This is Mercury LLC. Okay, their clients. Here's some of their clients. You can see here. You've got Gavi. That is Bill Gates' vaccine initiative. Here you've got the World Economic Forum. Omnicom Group owns Mercury LLC, where Susie was a managing partner. Right? We've got this Omnicom Group. They like inclusion, diversity. They're DEI crew. They're a straight up World Economic Forum stooge. They own Mercury LLC. You can see here Mercury taps top Democratic aides and administration contract. So Mercury they're playing the Democrats, they're playing the Republicans. They love the Democrats, right? So you've got a managing partner for Mercury LLC, Susie Wiles, is now the president's chief of staff. The Mercury LLC represents places like Gavi, and let me show you some more. Here you have them representing Pfizer. Here you have them representing Gilead. So, all the guys that were getting rich during COVID. And here you have Susie Wiles as a co-chair in Mercury's Florida, Washington, D.C. offices. So, she didn't represent those guys. She was a co-chair of the Florida and Washington, D.C. offices. She may not have had them as specific clients, but she worked with Democrats and Republicans and, worked at a company owned by Omnicom. And, listen, there's a million red flags with this woman, a million. But no one wants to look at this. Well, now you see all of her favorite people are getting favors, right? You see that Pfizer, Albert Bourla is at the White House. Gavi, Bill Gates at the White House, right? Bayer Pharmaceuticals, who both Mercury LLC and Ballard Partners, her other lobbying firm she worked for, have as a client. Well, now you've got the executive order on immunity for glyphosate. You also know, because the president, she spoke about this in a couple things, that she doesn't always agree with the president on certain issues, which I believe include his takes on the trans issue. So we see this trans thing that the president says today for kids. Wiles is not MAGA at all. She's a Bush loyalist. She's an old school rhino Republican. And what we're seeing from the president is really, in my opinion, strongly based on her influence. This is something that it doesn't make for a headline. You have to do some homework to understand this. And nobody wants to do homework. Nobody wants to think. So this is what's happening. We're going to hit a few. I've talked about this extensively. We're going to do more, but I want to hit a few other things quick because we're coming up on the end of the show. Senator Mike Lee introduces National Constitutional Carry Act. I'm a diehard Second Amendment guy. This is an interesting thing. I don't like when the government federalizes anything, but the Second Amendment does need some additional protection because we're seeing all sorts of problems. And the Constitutional Carry Act is really just an implementing law for the Second Amendment. I mean, I'm going to be interested. I haven't had the chance to review the whole law, but we do need to understand that concealed carry is a thing that is clearly within the Constitution, right? The right to keep and bear arms. And, the idea that it's only about a militia is not at all accurate. I mean, the Second Amendment has always included the right to keep and bear arms personally as well. The Second Amendment was always about being able to challenge an unconstitutional government, a government that didn't represent the people, a government that was out of line. It was always about being able to stand up for our own rights. So, listen, this is an interesting thing. I want to dig into it. The ban does apparently respect government buildings and private property rights, but largely I haven't, like I said, I haven't read it all, but largely we do need to have something that kind of standardizes this. If you got a gun in your car and you cross state lines, you shouldn't have to worry about that. If you don't have a gun in your car, you should ask yourself why you don't have a gun in your car. But maybe you live in California. I don't know. But this is something that I can't say I'm opposed to in any way, shape, or form. Although the only caveat I will say for that is that it does make me nervous that we keep federalizing everything. This shouldn't be an issue anyways, but it is what it is. Like I said, gas prices are up. Shelved auto pen. Newborn calf sales. Shout out to my friends at the Beef Initiative again. $2,200 for newborn calves. $2,200. We have a record low U.S. cattle herd. Wonder why that is. I mean, local farmers and ranchers are being ran out of business at a rate that's just ungodly. I believe I heard somewhere between 50 and 60 local farmers, ranchers are losing everything every day. We are running our local farmers and ranchers out. So the Bill Gates corporate farms, CCP-owned all these corporate farms run everything, which works out real well for the big four ag monopoly that already exists. We need to protect local farmers and ranchers. I cannot stress that enough. All right, there's a ton more to talk about today, but I'm out of time for the day. Please givesendgo.com/Renslaw, givesendgo.com/Renslaw. Please become a donor. Please support us. We do need your help. Also, please support us by supporting our sponsors. Check out our link for Paleo Valley. Get a discount on the whole store. You can go to tomrenz.com to get there, or you can click on the show notes. But Paleo Valley, great stuff. Become a subscriber there. Just get their stuff. You need their tallow. You need some of these things. You just need these in your house all the time. It's good stuff. It's healthy stuff. It's great products. Love our friends at Paleo Valley. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back very soon.
Thank you for watching The Tom Renz Show. Join us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, putting an axe in the skull of tyranny.
Hey guys, my people tell me I need to do commercials from the gym. I say I need to talk about health, nutrition, fitness, that sort of thing when I'm here. 48, almost 49, trying to be in shape, trying to do my thing. Let me tell you about two of the things I'm most excited about right now. Men's hormone support from Global Healing is one of the best natural hormone support products on the market. It is the best natural hormone support product on the market. I love this stuff. It keeps men's health, men's hormones. It keeps you healthy, keeps them good, keeps them strong. Gets rid of brain fog, keeps you feeling good. Great product. Men's hormone support from Global Healing. We sell it, we promote it, we love it. Men's hormone support from Global Healing. Also, we've got a new line of oral peptides we're using. Let me tell you, peptides are just proteins. And some people say, well, you can't get through your digestive system. Well, that's not true. Proteins do break down your digestive system, but not entirely. They do get into your body, right? We have a new wonderful line of oral peptides. I'm loving it. It's helping me feel better, less stronger, more energy, better sleep. There's a whole line of them that we're selling. Check the link below. Check the link here. We've got the right links for all this stuff. But they're oral peptides, no injections, no GLP, and they're also all natural, healthy, wonderful things, wonderful products. I'm using them. I'm feeling real good about it, feeling strong, feeling great. Make sure you're checking out our links for our new oral peptides and for Global Healing, men's hormone support, and all the Global Healing products. Thanks. We'll be back soon.